Hello, I'm Sandy Arnett. On this edition of Commuter Connections, we'll introduce you to the successful crime-fighting efforts of the MTA Police Force. MTA Mobility has added a number of new vehicles to its fleet to enhance service, and we'll highlight the efforts of the MTA Bus Maintenance Division, all right here. Welcome to Commuter Connections. When Snowstorm Jonas recently shut down parts of Maryland, dumping nearly 3 feet of snow across the Baltimore area, the Maryland Transit Administration quickly jumped into action and devised a plan to weather the storm while keeping customers and employees safe.
During Snowstorm Jonas, MTA took several steps to provide a safe and fast recovery from the worst recorded snowstorm in Maryland history. These steps allowed MTA to fully restore service in only 96 hours after the storm ended. This forward-thinking approach enabled MTA not to experience any significant storm-related injuries or accidents. That's quite a feat, given the record-setting nature of the storm. MTA's strategic positioning of police officers and resources during the storm led to no crime on MTA systems. All of these accomplishments are being nationally recognized as industry-leading results. MTA made safety the guiding principle in every decision during the storm. Before, during, and after the storm, MTA coordinated efforts with its regional transit partner, the Washington Metropolitan Area Transit Authority, or WMATA, in both their pre-announcement of closing and in their free recovery day after the storm. The early decision and public announcement of the suspension of services for 48 hours during the worst of the storm increased customer and operator safety. It also greatly reduced expenses from the storm, such as transmission replacements on vehicles, and it allowed MTA to have a full complement of manpower to focus on recovery efforts once the worst of the storm was done. This also allowed MTA to reposition some of its fleet, like moving train cars into tunnels so snow wouldn't have to be removed off of them after the storm. MTA appointed a snow commander for the storm, and this position proved to be critical in overseeing all of its coordinated efforts from the Operations Control Center. In addition, MTA had daily and sometimes twice-daily conference calls with every key decision-maker in the MTA to coordinate efforts, share resources, and ultimately create a fast recovery. MTA closely coordinated with the city government, elected officials, and other state agencies that assisted MTA in such things as plowing MTA park and ride lots for commuter bus and MARC train service. Informing customers was a key element to the plan. That's why MTA had a full media blitz before the storm to let customers know about MTA's plans so they could make their plans. MTA continued to communicate with the media on a regular basis in both the Baltimore and Washington, D.C. media markets throughout the storm and during the recovery to let the public know about MTA service and restoration efforts. The dedication of MTA staff was a key element to a safe and fast recovery. Many staff members spent the night in MTA facilities for several days and worked around the clock in order to facilitate service recovery. Having senior managers on site during the storm proved to be important in facilitating faster decisions and keeping MTA's eyes towards a quicker recovery effort. Finally, offering all free transit rides on the first day of service after the storm was a way to incentivize ridership of transit and also to compensate customers for their patience with service that wasn't yet fully restored on the first day after the storm. All of these steps proved critical in restoring service as soon as it was safe to operate after the storm and are garnering national recognition for MTA's recovery efforts.
The MTA Police Force works hard every day in an effort to protect and serve the public and patrons of the MTA. That focus and effort has paid off in a noticeable way with a number of really impressive crime stats, which transit riders certainly can appreciate. MTA Police Chief John Gafrilis joins us to talk about this important data. Thank you for joining us today, Chief.
My pleasure.
Now, before we get into the news of the tremendous success that the MTA Police has had in fighting crime and keeping transit safe, tell us a little bit about the MTA Police and its mission.
Well, our mission is very simply to professionally enforce the law, protect the transit community, the employees, with dignity and respect.
So tell me, how long has the MTA Police Force existed?
They were enacted in 1971, so we're reaching our 45th anniversary as a police force. Yeah, it's going to be a nice anniversary.
Great. And how large is the force? I know you often see police around in the stations. And
We have over 200 sworn and civilian personnel. It includes the police officers, includes our fare inspectors, security guards, our communication operators, and our police monitoring facility folks, along with administrative personnel to help us in some of the other duties that we have.
Okay. Now, how often are you bringing on new officers?
Well, we try to bring in new officers as we get enough police to enter into an academy class. Generally, twice a year that happens. We currently have 20 new recruits in an academy class waiting to graduate this June.
Oh, okay, awesome. So
Yes.
what does it take to become a police officer with the MTA?
Well, there's a very stringent background process that has to occur. We take a look at the person's qualifications. They go through a screening process that includes a polygraph examination. And if they meet all the requirements set by the Maryland Police Corrections and Training Commission, then they're hired.
Oh, okay, okay. Just a few little easy things
That's
to
right,
get
yes.
around, right?
And then the academy is actually around 6 months long, where it's very vigorous, both in studies, the type of curriculum that they have to prepare themselves with, and preparing themselves physically for the job.
And is the training pretty much similar to what you would get if you were with,
It's
just say, the local police department?
Right, it's the same training that you would get if you were with Baltimore City Police, the Maryland State Police, the Transportation Authority Police.
Oh, okay.
It's all mandated by the Training Commission, who sets the standards for the training.
Oh, okay, awesome. So now I know you came on to tell us about some of the good news, what's going on, that you're working hard, trying to keep transit safe. So please share with us some of the impressive stats for keeping crime down on MTA's transit modes.
Sandy, we're very proud of the fact that we have the lowest number of Part 1 incidents among the top 12 transit agencies in the country. This year, we experienced 11% reduction in Part 1 crimes when comparing 2015 to 2014. Overall, over the past 7 years, we've reduced crime by nearly 50%. We're especially proud of the fact that we have been able to clear nearly 70% of the robberies that have occurred on transit. So as you can see, it is a very safe system.
Wow. So Part 1 crimes, what are those
They're
exactly?
your serious crimes. They're your homicides, your shootings, your rapes, your burglaries, stolen autos, your theft, and your arson.
Okay. So what are the future plans for MTA Police?
Well, not only do we focus on the serious crime, we also focus in on quality of life crime. Those type of crimes such as the drinking, the loitering, the loud noise. So we're making an effort now to increase the visibility in our system so our officers can address those nuisance type crimes. We're also looking in the future as we put more officers on the street to have more officers riding our trains and our buses.
Well, that'll be great.
Yes.
So even for those who have not tried transit before, this will be an opportunity. They know it's safe, they know it's convenient.
Right, and it'll see presence of uniformed police officers.
Speak to us about some of the focus and concerns that exist on the various modes. So you have the local bus, light rail.
Right, we're responsible for the 6 modes, the bus, light rail, the metro, the subway, the MARC, commuter bus, and mobility.
Okay.
And we're responsible for the conveyances and also the stations and facilities that they operate out of across the whole state of Maryland.
Okay. So what are some of the things that you're doing to keep transit safe? I know, I recall a sweep one time. I guess they were just had the canines.
Right.
And going through the stations. Is that something that's done on a routine basis?
Yes, we deploy various different strategies, both in uniform and in plain clothes. And we do it both internally, utilizing the resources we have, and then also working with our local, state, and federal counterparts to assist us in the different type of strategies. One of those strategies is our Operation Zeus. That's a zoned enforced unified sweeps, where we bring together various different internal resources and external resources, such as we've used the Federal Air Marshals, we've used the Amtrak Police to concentrate on high visibility at different stations around the state.
Oh, okay, okay. So does that take a lot to pull together when you're involving different agencies?
And the planning starts very early on. We utilize our ComStat process to identify those stations or facilities that may have a propensity towards crime or who we believe may need to be hardened against a terrorist activity. And then based on the intelligence and the data we have, we identify what station or facility we'll be at, and then we bring all those resources to bear upon that station.
Okay, and you mentioned ComStat. What is that exactly?
ComStat is a process where you use computerized data to identify trends and then analyze those trends and then rapidly deploy resources to those areas that are experiencing a crime problem. Utilizing effective strategies, because you can't use the same type of strategy in all situations, and then relentlessly following up on parts of that investigation that may need where you identify a suspect.
For someone who's riding one of the modes, if they see something going on, how would they be able to notify MTA Police?
Well, they can either dial our 410-454-7720 number, which goes directly into our communications, or it's if a serious crime in progress, dial 911. We have mutual aid agreements with all our local counterparts, so when a 911 call comes out for service, the closest police unit responds.
Okay. Thank you so much, Chief. I really appreciate you coming on.
You're welcome.
Now, coming up next, a look at what MTA Mobility is doing to improve service for its many customers. That's next. Stay with us. MTA is dedicated to providing safe, efficient, reliable transit with world-class customer service to transit riders throughout the region. To assist in making that possible, the agency is adding a number of new vehicles to its mobility paratransit fleet. Joining us to talk about this enhancement to mobility service is Carl Parr, its director. Welcome to Commuter Connections, Carl.
Glad to be here.
Good to have you. Now, for those who are unfamiliar, what is MTA Mobility?
MTA Mobility is the ADA service that we provide to those that are unable to travel using the fixed route modes, bus, light rail, metro.
So these are some of the disabled residents?
Disabled community.
Okay, and roughly what areas do you serve in Maryland?
Basically, all of Baltimore City. It's up to 3/4 of a mile off of a fixed route stop. So that includes all of Baltimore City, a band of Baltimore County surrounding Baltimore City, and a corridor in Anne Arundel County down Ritchie Highway into Annapolis.
Okay.
Around 680 square miles.
Oh, so you cover good ground,
Yes.
a good amount of territory there. So how many mobility rides per day or per week would you say that your team is responsible for?
We have over 25,000 customers, and they book over 7,000 trips a day in the ADA service, and we have another almost 2,000 trips a day going through our Call a Ride program, which is the taxi supplemental service program. So altogether, it's over 9,000 trips a day, making us one of the largest in the country.
That's great. And how many vehicles does it take to accommodate that number of customers?
We have 485 mobility vehicles, plus the supplemental vehicles as well.
Oh, okay. So now with your vans and your sedans, you know, how do you, I guess you're using a combination of both, how do you determine which you use to service a particular mobility customer?
If the customer requires a wheelchair, then we'll send a lift-equipped vehicle. We have 320 lift-equipped vehicles, and then we also have 40 smaller ramp-equipped vehicles that can handle wheelchairs as well, plus 125 sedans.
Oh, okay. So now I understand that MTA Mobility recently purchased new vehicles. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, we were able to hook into a state procurement contract for police cars, so we were able to put 147 new Ford Tauruses on the street within 4 months, as compared to the 2 years it takes to put a larger sedan, a larger cutaway onto the street.
Okay, that's great. So do you normally purchase new vehicles every year?
We try to.
Mm-hmm. So with the new vehicles that you have, are they currently on the street, or are they coming in, or a combination of both?
Around 50 of them are on the street now.
Okay.
They're coming in weekly.
Okay. And what needs to happen? Tell me a little bit about the features of those vehicles, you know, once you purchase them, from the time that you purchase to the time that they're actually ready to service customers. What's happening?
They come in, and then our shop takes care of installing the radio communications, the computer equipment, the safety equipment, the decaling. So it takes them another week to put the vehicle into service after it arrives.
Oh, okay. And what are some of the other features on the new vehicles?
They're all-wheel drive. They have a backup camera. It's a smaller vehicle, so it's easier to navigate the narrow streets in Baltimore.
And I guess it's helpful to the weather too.
All-wheel
With the
drive
storm
is
that
great.
we just
It's
had,
great
that's
in the
very
weather.
helpful.
Exactly.
So what would be the total cost of this investment?
It was around $5.3 million as compared to around $15 million it would cost for the same amount of cutaways. So we saved the taxpayers over $10 million.
That's a great savings. That's a great savings. So I know that you mentioned that you normally try to purchase new vehicles every year, and you have the new ones that are out now. What has been some of the customer response?
Customers love them. We showed them ahead of time. We were able to let them test them out, and they're all anxious and ready to enjoy the trip.
Oh, okay. So now for someone who is interested in mobility service, how can they find out more information or sign up?
They can check the website, the MTA website. They can download the application to be certified, and they can call us 410-764-8181, and we can mail them an application.
Oh, okay, great. And the website, mta.maryland.gov?
Yes.
Okay, great. Carl, thanks again for joining us on Commuter Connections, and good luck with the new mobility vehicles. I think your customers are going to love them.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Just ahead, a look at the important efforts of the MTA Bus Maintenance Division. Stay with us. Each and every day, we see MTA buses transporting transit riders in and around the region. What we don't see are the numbers of dedicated MTA maintenance personnel who work behind the scenes to keep transit moving. Their work is an important part of the MTA mission, and David Varner, Director of Bus Maintenance, joins us to talk about it. Welcome to Commuter Connections.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit, what happens with MTA Bus Maintenance? What is that all about?
Well, bus maintenance are the group that oversees all the maintenance of our 750 bus fleet out there. You know, they do everything from fueling and cleaning at night to maintaining the buses, doing inspections. Just like you would take your car in for service, we service the buses every night. You know, it's a tough thing, but we have a good group of folks that handle it.
Okay, and you said 750 vehicles?
750 vehicles out there.
Okay. So with bus maintenance, what are some of the qualifications for the mechanics that would handle that kind of work?
Well, for the mechanics, what we're looking for is a mechanical aptitude. You don't necessarily have to work on transit buses or buses specifically. You know, if you work on automobiles, tractor trailers, airplanes, anything out there, we're looking for that mechanical aptitude. You know, we can train you how to work on buses. You know, a lot of people don't understand that at our department, we're like the entry level into MTA. Just like the bus operator is for those that drive the buses, bus maintenance is for those who maintain the buses also.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So now, is the MTA currently looking for
Yes.
new mechanics?
Yes, just like every other industry out there, we're going through the retirement of the baby boomer stage. So we have a lot of people retiring, and we need that skill set to come in and replace it and try to fill that void. So we're looking for good people out there that want to come to work, want to learn, and want to advance at MTA.
So now once they start, you hire someone on, what's the process before, you know, basically they're kind of out there and able to handle the job on their own? What kind of, you mentioned training, so what's involved in all that?
Well, we have an internal training group that actually has a setup with what we call training mock-ups. It's like the engine, the transmission, the air conditioning unit, all separate from the bus that you can learn and train on. We also have vendor training from the bus manufacturer. They'll come in and do training on their equipment, their buses, how to maintain them and those things there. So we have like a probation period and a training period to get them acclimated with the equipment.
Okay, and how long are probation and the training? How long does that normally last?
Well, the training is always ongoing, just like anything else. We have to go through either yearly or bi-yearly training, you know, because equipments get upgraded or there's advancements and different things. A lot of computers and a lot of equipment on these buses now. It's not like the old buses of, you know, years past. These buses sometimes have more than 23 computers on them.
And that's what I was going to ask you, like how do the buses differ? Because, you know, I know sometimes you may be purchasing new buses, there may be different technology there. When that happens, do you have to go back and retrain the existing mechanics just to make sure that everyone is familiar?
Yes, we have to have the refresher training, keep them up on any advancement. We're always doing upgrades to our equipment too out there, either to save fuel, make the buses safer, or any kind of improvements we do to the buses. We've done many over the years, so we have to get the, you know, the new mechanics or even the older mechanics like, used to it or to learn the new technology. You know, more than half our fleet are hybrid buses. You know, we've made advancements in those. One, just to think off the top of my head, where we replaced the alternator on them with an inverter. So you take the alternator and the belt off the bus now and you use it through an inverter, through the regenerative braking that for the power that goes back to the battery pack. So it's all those different kind of, you know, advancements or changes that we make along the way.
And with that type of bus, how would you explain that to our viewers who may not be familiar?
Well, our hybrid buses, and it's just what the word means, it's actually a combination of a diesel engine and an electric power plant. And the reasoning behind that, you know, most of the smoke you'll see or the emissions you'll see from buses is during takeoff. You know, you got to get that big bus or that big truck moving. So the hybrid part is the electric. That's what gets the bus going up to about 12 miles an hour. Then the diesel engine takes over. So that's where your hybrid comes in. Half electric, half diesel engine.
And do you have to take a bus through emissions like you would your car?
Not yet, but there's talks of that down the road. You know, the engine manufacturers have to meet certain emission qualifications when they build the engine and those things there. But we don't do like a normal car and go to the emission stations every
so
year.
often.
Correct.
Okay. Now, have you ever been a mechanic for MTA?
Yes, I actually started out as an A repairman with the Maryland Transit Administration. And this is what we tried to put out there to folks, that you can get an MTA and you can go anywhere. You know, whether you want to stay in the union and become the union president, whether you want to stay and go into management and become the administrator of the Maryland Transit Administration. The opportunities are there. You know?
So how many years do you have with the agency?
I have 25 come this March.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. That's a good long time. So you've seen a lot of change.
Yes. Yeah, you've seen all the advancements, you've seen all the changes, and you've seen all the progress too.
That's good. So you're looking for new people to come on board, join the team, and keep transit moving for everyone in Maryland.
You know? And we try to get them to understand that, you know, we know with this generation it's technology. And a lot of folks understand how high tech a lot of these new buses are. You know, everything on them is high tech. They talk now when they turn. You got hybrid electric. You got all this advancement, all LED lights. It's just amazing. You know, once some of the guys we get in here see all the electronic equipment. Plus, there's a gateway if you want to go on to work on light rail or metro or MARC trains. You know, we're the entry level. If you want to get into the media, marketing, HR, all those avenues are open to you once you get into the door. And this is what we're trying to send to folks out there. Don't just look at it as coming in and being a mechanic. Look at it as your stepping stone. You come in, you learn a little bit, and you advance.
Oh, okay. So if someone wants to apply, what should they do?
Well, we have a website that you can go to, but our main location is down 6 St. Paul.
Okay.
You know, we have our HR department down there. You can go online and watch the open jobs online.
Okay.
They'll list them on there. You'll see ours are either A repairman, B repairman, C repairman, and cleaners.
Okay.
Yeah. The differences in that, our C repairmen are like our entry level. Those are the ones that fuel and sweep the buses out every night.
Okay.
You know, so you get your foot in the door that way. You learn a bit more about the mechanical part of it.
And then you can move up to the next level.
Yeah. Our B repairmen are more of our remove and replace. We call them R&R guys. And our A repairmen are more diagnostic. They know how to troubleshoot and do all that good stuff.
Well, thank you. It's been good talking with you.
It's been
Learned
a
a lot,
pleasure.
and hopefully you'll get more people
Yes,
coming on board and at the MTA.
sounds good.
Okay, well that brings us to the end of another edition of Commuter Connections. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.